Is it worth spending a relatively large amount of money on a good quality compass, or will a cheaper version do the job just as well? As an example, I went online this morning and I looked at the cost of a very common compass. This is the Silver Classic. In the UK this costs around £18, and we can see that the recommended local prices for this compass charged in, I don't know, Canada, most of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico and the USA. And if we use a base currency, we can compare all these different prices, and we can use any internationally traded currency. So I'll use the South African Rand, and as you can see, the Silver Classic costs about the same wherever you buy it. But do you really need to pay this amount for a compass? Okay, I mean, this is a nice compass, but you know, to have in your rucksack as a spare. But why not opt for something that is much, much cheaper? To try and answer this question, a few days ago I bought the cheapest compass I could find on the internet. And this is it. This is the Horishi Professional Mini Compass. It's wonderful. Now, I bought this compass for 1p, or as we used to say, 1 penny. Now, don't forget, the silver costs £18, so I could buy 1,800 of these for the price of one of these. Now, as with a lot of things on Amazon, the supplier will try and advertise a very low price just to get your attention, and then they'll make a profit by the inflating the so-called postage costs. But when I bought this, I used the Amazon's buy with Prime offer, so the postage was free. I then immediately cancelled my Prime membership, so I actually paid for this compass 1 penny. Now, a quick Google search, will show you that this Horishi Professional Mini Compass is just one of the names that this compass is sold under. You'll also find it on the internet as the Orienteering Compass, the Scouts Military Compass, the Cherokee Compass and the Volux Sighting Compass, and this is my favourite name, the Starwave Wilderness Survival Compass, etc, etc. Basically, this compass is sold under lots of different names on lots of different websites. So where do these compasses come from, and how can they be sold for a penny? Well, it's made in China, obviously, and as with virtually everything that's made in China, it's very difficult to find out who actually makes something, who is the manufacturer, because in China there are so many middlemen, and they call themselves wholesalers now. But anyway, but by searching back through the various supply chains, we found that this compass, whatever it's called, they're made by a factory in Zhejiang province in China, which is owned by Jaxi Optical. So they're the manufacturers. Now, how can it be sold for 1 penny? I actually don't know. Now, I don't really care where something is made or who makes it. As an example, another big compass manufacturer is Sunto, which is also owned by a Chinese company called Leishan. But for me, a compass is an important piece of my equipment, so it has to work correctly. Now I've spent my money, my 1 penny, on this compass, I thought it would be a good idea to test it against the Silver Classic, just to make sure that when it's needed I can actually use my Horishi Professional Mini Compass. It needs to be usable when I need to use it. So I've drawn this line on this piece of paper, and as you can see, I've checked that the line is pointing directly magnetic north, magnetic south, with a number of high quality compasses. So we can be confident that this line is pointing in the right direction. So first of all, let's test the silver compass. Does it point north-south magnetic? Here we go. Let this needle settle down. Yes, it does. It points exactly north-south. So next, the Horishi Professional Mini Compass. Does it point directly north-south? It's pointing somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where it's pointing. So that's 1 point to the silver and no points to the Horishi. So the next test is, can these compasses be used with a map? So let's have a look. Let's say that I am here at this footpath junction and I'm not sure if I need to go left or right, and it's really foggy and I just want to have a check. So here we go. I want to go up to the summit of Riser. So all I do is I'll use the silver compass first and I'll take a bearing. So here we go. So I've got a bearing here on the silver compass of 40 degrees. Let's do the same with the Horishi. Here we go. And that also gives me a bearing of 40 degrees. Now, let's set the compasses to 40 degrees. If I hold the compasses in my hand, which direction are they telling me to walk? So firstly, the silver. The silver is telling me to walk in that direction. And the Horishi is telling me to walk in that direction. So the two compasses are actually pointing in different directions. So which one is correct? Tell you what, we'll use a Kamenga compass just because I happen to have one here, and we'll set the Kamenga at 40 degrees. Here we go. I'm pretty confident in the Kamenga is correct. So there we go. The Kamenga is now pointing in 40 degrees, which is exactly there. So we'll draw a pencil line at 40 degrees on this piece of paper. So that line there is 40 degrees. Which one of these compasses, the silver or the Horishi, is pointing in the right direction? There you go. The silver is pointing in exactly the same direction as the Kamenga did. And let's take the Horishi, set it on 40 degrees because it keeps moving. So you go 35, 40 degrees. No, the Horishi is actually pointing in the wrong direction. So once again, it's another point to the silver compass and no points to the Horishi. So the next test is, are these compasses rugged enough? Can they be used outdoors? Now, anything that you rely on when you're outdoors needs to stand up to the everyday rough treatment that all outdoor gear gets. Basically, when you're out walking and scrambling over crags and rocks, things are going to get knocked around. So it needs to be able to stand up to a good beating, you know, shaking around and being in your rucksack for years. Don't forget, both of these, I think they're intended to be used as spare compasses, so they'll be in your first aid kit or somewhere like that. Now, to simulate the years of being in your rucksack, I've actually invented an extremely high-tech compass tester. I'm going to call it the Bashomatic, which is actually 3 precisely calibrated rocks in a bag attached to a piece of string. I'll be on Dragon's Den next week. I think in some countries that's called Shark Tent. I want £100,000 for 2% of my company. So the way this the Bashomatic works is you put a few rocks in your bag, you get both compasses like so, and then what we do, tighten the bag, extend the string, very precise extension there, and we drop it. And we keep doing that. We'll give it a few. I'll change the direction of the camera so you can see what's going on. Well, that was quite fun. Let's just wind this. Let's have a look what the results of our Bashomatic test were. Here we go. What do we got? Silver. Oh, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Right, so put that there. Have a look. Take out the precisely calibrated stones. I got from my garden earlier on. Oh, Americans, it's a garden, not a yard. International incident coming up. And the Horishi, oh dear. Let's have a look. Oh my god. It didn't fare too well. That's the best way of putting it. Wait, I'll get the camera, I'll zoom in. Oh dear, oh dear. Maybe I can put it back together again and sell it on eBay. Who knows? So that's the results of my test. Very unscientific test, I must add. The question remains, would you rather have one of these for the same price as 1,800 of these? You know, it's up to you. I never advise people which compass to buy. That's not my place. If you come on one of my courses and you ask me, I might be a bit more opening, but in public on a social media, I'm never going to say buy this and don't buy that. That's not my position. Now, there are options, obviously. Whenever you're buying a compass, there are always options. As an example, I've got two compasses here. One is a Suunto A30 and one is a Rector DT200. Now, if you look at them, they are, how can I put it? They are very similar. In fact, I'll be as cheeky to say, most of it is they're almost identical. Now this could be because they're made in the same factory. They're made probably on the same production line. But the Suunto A30 costs £30 approximately. The Rector DT200 costs approximately £15. Half price for a compass that's made on the same production line in the same factory. You know, it's up to you. I'm not suggesting you buy this one or this one, that's totally up to you. But there are always options. You can get good quality compasses for vastly different amounts online or in the shop. Just be very careful if you buy them online. Anyway, that's that. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.